Hello. This is the 53rd Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2222, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. Today we have something that is pretty exciting for us still. But maybe before we start, we throw in the email address one more time.
Yeah, we often mention it at least at the start and at the end, so now's at the start. If you are hearing this, please send an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com with the number 53 in the subject. And that way we'll know that we successfully sent this back in time, however many years. We'll know based on the date that your email is sent from.
Yep. And sometimes we answer them on the show. And if we get around to it, we also will answer one or two at the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But before, as I mentioned, we have also something that is pretty exciting for us, like a new invention. And then even when we were recording our first episodes, I hadn't heard of this.
No, this is really new.
Yeah.
Just in the last few weeks that it's really become super, super popular.
You want to introduce it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're called Ziplock Bags. And what they are, so they're a bag made of see-through plastic, and they have a zip across so a thing that you slide across the top. Slide it one way, it opens the bag. Slide it the other way, and the bag is sealed. Whatever's inside won't fall out.
You see them like they've gone from nowhere to everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can put all kinds of things in them. You can put sand in them. You can put beads in them. You can put your rectangular device with a touch screen in them and use it at the beach. You can even put sandwiches in them.
What I really like about it is the material.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I understood, it's polyethylene. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right.
I also don't know the correct pronunciation, so let's go with that.
That's what the label says.
Yeah.
And it's not using organic material.
Right. Most things, nearly all things, are made of organic materials. Yeah. No, this thing, well, okay, it's organic in the sense it was dinosaur bones a long, long time ago, but it's artificial.
Yep. And which means it doesn't decay over time. You know, like organic bags that we use is like
they're good for a few months, maybe a few years, but then they fall apart basically.
And this is good forever.
It's meant to be. I mean, we've only really been using them for a few weeks, but that's the promise that they'll last for centuries.
And it's it's also because we live long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been.
When people used to live just like 30, 40 years, okay, an organic bag that lasts 10 years, that's a quarter of your life. That's pretty good. But yeah, living to 200, that's way smaller of a proportion of your life.
And then you have a Ziploc bag and you have something in there, like that's the reason that you put it in there, right?
To keep it separate from everything else.
Exactly. Maybe to protect it from the environment, or
to protect things in the environment from it.
Exactly. And then if it's an organic bag and it like after a couple of decades it starts to decay, how good is it? Yeah,
well, it's good for temporary things, but it's not good for long-term storage.
And it's also pretty sturdy. Like it doesn't break easily. Mm-hmm. Like you don't easily poke holes in it. Doesn't rip easily, and so on. It's really like also if you feel the material,
it's really smooth, really satisfying.
Yeah.
The one downside is it melts. So if you put something, you can't put things that are too hot into it.
I didn't try.
Yeah, that's the downside. Yeah, like a bag made of cloth, for example. I mean, too hot, of course, and it will burn, but it won't melt. It will withstand higher temperatures than the Ziploc bags.
And also, in general, the whole idea about it, zipping open and zipping shut, like how easy can that be?
What's really good about it is it even works when there's a mercury blackout, because you have your regular bags also, which the way that you get things in and out of them is through teleportation, which is great when there's, which most of the time is great. There's no worry of the zip accidentally coming undone. But when there's no energy, no electricity, you can't get things in or out of the bag.
Yeah.
Which can be pretty annoying. And
also, if your PA is buggy and you're saying, open this or open that, that's not gonna work some of the time. And then with a Ziploc bag,
within your control,
you can do it yourself.
Slide it on open. Take it in, take it out, put it in, slide it closed.
what is also interesting is not actually technology, right? Like, so we often speak about technology.
It doesn't have any like integrated circuits or electronics or blinking lights.
I mean,
like that.
it's created using technology, I assume, but it's like often we speak about the things that we have and then that's a lot of technology is in our daily lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember when these things came up, it seems so simple yet so brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Not using technology, really using...
By not relying on teleportation.
Yeah. It's not even connected to the internet.
No, that's true. You can't check your bag at home to find out what's in it. Is it closed? Is it open? You cannot tell that directly. I mean, of course, you can have your personal assistant check on it for you, but you can't directly query the bag.
And you have them in all kinds of sizes, really big, really small. And like the amount of things you can use it for, like the first time you put something in there, then countless of possibilities open up. Like you suddenly is like a new way of thinking. It's like really.
Yeah, I haven't started it yet, but I have the idea. So my Lego collection is pretty massive, and it will be really useful to sort the loose pieces, to use these bags for them. Looking forward to that.
I was thinking of using it when collecting rocks. Sometimes you walk through the streets of Lhasa, just randomly somewhere, and then hey, that's a cool rock. You want to, and then you put it in your jacket pocket or so. But there, it may damage either the pocket or the rock or
other stuff in your pocket.
And then you just put it in your Ziploc bag. I got 3, and I'm carrying them with me wherever I go.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's where you can even nest them. You can have, like, for example, in your example there, each rock in its own small bag, and then those 3 bags inside a larger Ziploc bag.
Yeah. I mean, I assume, of course, because they're really new, they're, of course, super expensive.
Sure.
It's like for 2 bags, you can buy a computer.
Yeah.
But of course, that's initially, I assume the price will go down.
Yeah, I assume so as well. And I mean, computers by now are pretty cheap as well, to keep in mind, because they've been around so long, where this is a very new technology.
I was also thinking, when you use, let's say, your Congo to produce some food, and then let's say you have a pizza, and then you don't finish it.
Right, usually you throw the leftovers back into the Congo. Yeah. But now you don't need to. You can put them in the Ziploc bag, keeps them fresh for the next day.
And you can even, like, let's say you go somewhere, right. And it's like you're late for a party or so, but you haven't eaten yet. You can just have your Congo produce a pizza and then take it along with you.
Right, on purpose. Like, not that it's leftovers, but it's intentional, that it's the size of the bag and maybe a bit cooler than you'd like, not hot. Like I say, I don't think that'd be hot enough to melt the bag, but it would be uncomfortable maybe to have a hot slice of pizza in your pocket. But the Congo can generate it cool enough that it's still tasty, but cool enough to go in the bag. And
then maybe even when you're at a party and everybody's hungry, you jump back home, you produce a bunch of pizzas.
Right. I mean, if you're at someone else's house, you'll use their Congo, but if you're out in the forest somewhere.
Exactly. And then, like, or like, I don't know, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You have your Congo produce that. You're going to put it in your pocket.
That's where the Ziploc bag being made of that plastic you mentioned is really good, because if you have it in a cloth bag, peanut butter and the jam, it kind of leaks out, and you get whatever the bag is in will then also become sticky, and the bag itself is sticky. You have to wash it. But no, with these Ziploc bags, it keeps it self-contained. It doesn't leak out.
For me, what I can't understand is that it's the 23rd century.
Right.
How
did it take this long? Like, how did it take until now for us to have this?
Exactly. Are we just making things too complicated? Is it like, because we're so connected, so much into high tech, that just these simple things don't really come up anymore?
I mean, maybe. Trying to think, like, do you reckon they had this kind of thing, maybe not as good as this, but something like this long ago, and then because things got more complicated, that we forgot about them?
We would have known about it, I
guess.
It
would have. Yeah, it would be on LP. Right, I looked on, as always, whatever the subject is for the week, I look on Wikipedia just to brush up, like when was this introduced, who made it, and so on and so on. And right, this is a new technology. This did not exist until, the idea is maybe 2 or 3 years old, but didn't exist as a mass-produced object until a few weeks ago.
Did you use them a lot the last week? At least for me, I've been trying out like the first day or so. It was still, adjusting to this way of thinking that you can actually put things in a Ziploc bag.
Just enjoying opening and closing the zip.
Yeah. Well, that's.
Maybe not a day's worth, but that's still some time's worth of entertainment.
That's true.
But right then, the more you use them, you get to enjoy that sensation.
And it's also you keep on like seeing new things. Like I can put this in my Ziploc bag, or I can use my Ziploc bag for this. Did you have any?
I did. So I haven't yet sorted all my Lego collection into them, but I have been with the newer models I've been getting. They often come with spare parts, and in the past I would put those all into a big empty can that I got some wasabi peanuts in. But now instead I've been sorting them into Ziploc bags, so rather than just dumping them all into one container. So the big advantage of the Ziploc bag is transparent. I don't know if we mentioned that. You can see what's in there.
Oh, we didn't mention,
I don't think we did, but it's
but they are.
Plastic.
Oh, that's an important part.
Exactly. So now I've been sorting into the smaller bags types of parts. Rather than being all one big blob, because then I've just done it with the spare parts so far, but my thinking is I'll be able to, when I want to find parts, I'll just be able to hold the bag up and see exactly what's in it, rather than relying on labels.
I've been using them when I go swimming.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's because if you have things in your pockets when you go swimming, they get wet. And then for some stuff that doesn't matter. But for some things it does, especially if technology doesn't handle water so well.
So you swim. I see what you mean. The pockets in your swimming trunks.
Yeah.
I got you now.
And so I put my technology in a Ziploc bag and go swimming. And because you can leave it on the shore or take it with you when swimming, hoping it doesn't break. But with Ziploc bags, you don't have to make that choice.
No. And even you can use some of them through the plastic. That's another nice thing. Yeah, like the.
Oh, we didn't mention that either.
I think I mentioned that. I mentioned that you could use your rectangles, but what does it mean? Your rectangles with touchscreens? It doesn't just mean you could look at them. It means you can actually interact with them through the plastic.
What I also did is, if you let's say put water on the floor in your living room and put the Ziploc bags on your feet, you can zip them shut until your ankles.
Yep.
And then you can use them for skating. On the water.
Not like here. Yeah, with my living room floor, it's a laminate, smooth wood.
Yeah,
doesn't work so well if you have carpet, but
good point. Actually, I also have.
But you also have this type of floor. Yeah, and then it works really well for that. Especially
also,
if you mix a little washing liquid in with the water, really smooth sliding.
Oh, I'm gonna try that next. Also, I didn't know it was called laminate, but now I do.
I think that's what it's
called. I just called it.
Might be a
floor.
brand name.
Yeah, I just called it floor. I never thought of it. It was there when I moved in.
Sure.
Any other uses that?
It's still so fresh, still so new. I'm sure we ourselves will come up with new ones, and other people. But hey, check out this thing you can do, and then we'll be excited.
We still have the box of old tech. We can put each old tech into its own Ziploc bag.
Yeah, each item into its own bag.
I don't know if this ghetto blaster is going to fit.
The Ziploc bags come in all different sizes. I don't have any that big. It should be possible. If it's not available now, maybe we can request it, and there will be ones that large. And then they don't scratch each other up.
Yeah,
like in the box.
Exactly. We can put the pocket calculator in it, and but not the chainsaw. I took that to the tech drop.
That's a thing to not keep in a drawer with a bunch of others. Especially, we worked out that liquid sound was petrol.
Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of fuel inside it.
Yeah, it was good that didn't leak on top of the other.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say that was a bit of a spontaneous idea. We originally had a different episode planned for today. But because these things came up, they started really becoming increasingly popular this week, we thought we should tell our listeners about these.
It's something for you guys 200 years ago to look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. Tell your grandchilds about them. It's coming up, Ziploc bags. I had one other topic that I noticed also the last couple of days is the Zwaveball League is under investigation. Did you hear this?
Yeah, I heard about it, and sure, It's pretty big news.
Yes, also because you play Zwaveball,
Yeah,
right?
I play Zwaveball, and so shall I say what the thing is, or do you want to? Or?
No, you can.
Yeah, so it's a rumor right now. It hasn't been confirmed, but the big rumor is that some teams have been using telekinesis to influence the ball, presumably to their advantage. Although, either way, whether it's to their advantage to another team's advantage, it's something you're not meant to use in the sport.
And of course, you train telekinesis. So when I heard the news, like Zwaveball,
it's not me. I'm not the one doing it. But here's the thing. Okay, so you're at least. I think a lot of people, their first thought is, how are you going to influence this hoverball with your telekinesis? Well, you're going to move the ball itself. I mean, and maybe, so the rumours aren't clear enough yet. I don't think anyone would do that because it would be too easy to observe that for anyone. To observe, hey, that ball didn't quite move how it should have, So the way I suspect it's working is people who've really trained well, they're influencing directly the inner workings of the Zwaveball. Just affecting its logic, how I explained that part of the game isn't just kicking it, part of the game is discussing or trying to convince the ball of a certain thing. And all things being equal, it relies purely on your powers of persuasion. But if some people are also adjusting the inner workings, that an argument which is pretty weak, but they adjust the inner workings that the Zwaveball considers it a strong argument. That's some really subtle stuff. That's not something you can observe, especially because the conversations aren't recorded. The audience doesn't get to hear what the players are saying. So that's the kind of thing that's how I imagine it might be going. But
I thought maybe they were also like increasing or decreasing the speed of the ball.
But that's the thing. Like I'm saying, not in the moment. You can't really observe it in the moment. But it's the kind of thing with action replays that you can see, that can be observed. Okay.
So you could, like a thorough observer would notice there's something. But maybe that's how they found out.
That's true. And of course, it could be a combination, yes? Some of the adjusting or altering it, how you can persuade it, and also kicking it differently.
Because occasionally you see it move in a bit odd direction, but that's what I've been told is because it's being argued to, and then it's kind of like convinced to go the other direction.
It's been kicked really hard one way, but it's still thinking about that thing it was just told, and that's affecting how it moves. That's
why I always consider the ball to be a little bit irregular, so maybe that's like the influence of telekinesis is a little bit harder to...
We don't... I hope that it's not the case, that they ban people who practice telekinesis from playing. That would be really...
Or spectating.
Both of those would be really harsh, but for me as a player, especially the players being banned.
But is it like, if you're somebody who can do telekinesis, do you notice that there's other people in the room who can do it, or no?
No, it's not. No more than anyone else, So
okay.
Like if they're making a rock fly through the air, okay, you're going to notice that, but also other people are. You don't have a feeling that telekinesis is being used to do that.
Okay, there's no like aura or whatever.
Not that I've observed.
Okay. Have you ever tried? Not
to
like
fix a Zwaveball.
No,
not
never
done.
Not to fix a match. Although nobody's listening to this, but
in our time.
But okay. I don't mean fix, but just like doing a training or whatever. Just
okay to see. No, because it's not allowed in the sport. I haven't done that.
Okay. I would be tempted.
I was going to say simpler to keep the temptation away. Like if I had tried it, I knew, hey, this is so easy to do, and no one will know.
And also during a training match, it's also like your team. Do they know you can do telekinesis? Actually,
some do. It comes up occasionally, but it's not. That's the point actually. If it's the idea is that if it really goes that far that people who practice telekinesis are banned from Zwaveball. Maybe there has to be a separate league, or there will be a separate league,
Cool, for just people who play...
I don't know about cool, but it's a way it could go, That, that there's a league for telekinesis, people who practice telekinesis, and then you need to use it. Yeah?
Or maybe
it's
not...
part of the tactics, it's part of the game that you use telekinesis.
Or maybe not a league for people who practice telekinesis, but just a different variation of the game, like with hoverboarding, you also have like... a pipe run or whatever. So
sure. Yeah, I see what you mean. Right, not that everyone in the team has to be has to use telekinesis, but just that it's allowed, and some of the players do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll find out.
We'll see. Yeah.
If anything comes out of this, we can tell our listeners about it.
Yeah.
We also have one user question.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At least one that I thought let's answer it, because it's kind of related to last week's question. It's again from John van Sint Maartens Vlotbrug.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who listened to last week, he's actually from your time, and he reported that his cousin Lambert went missing. And he asked us if we could look into this, and he sent another email, and he says his cousin still didn't reappear, and the family is worried. And of course, I'm also a little worried, because as we found out, I'm one of his descendants.
Yeah.
So, as John says, the police has found no clues whatsoever.
Right, there's no sign of him.
He disappeared
Yeah.
without a trace. Yeah. So he asked us to take a look, because we looked last time, and we looked again, John, and again, don't worry. Like we said last week, cousin Lambert has hundreds of descendants in the 23rd century.
Yeah. So for him to have hundreds of descendants, he must be fine at some point. It's obviously worrying and upsetting for you that you haven't heard from him, but at some point he'll show up again.
Exactly, and the fact that he has descendants means he is probably fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that is it for this week,
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Yeah, microlasagna5@gmail.com. That's where you can send your emails. We want you to email us simply to let us know this went back in time successfully. So put number 53 in the subject line. But of course, you can also ask us any questions you have.
Yeah. Okay, then that's it for this week. That's it for the Ziplock bags. Then thanks for listening, and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.